first of 133 laps set to run. The pace car going to peel off the racetrack, and we will be going racing with Cedric Hunter and Hunter Hayward on the front row. 33 cars strong here this evening on a Sunday evening. Glad you could be with us on Verdane TV, and Hunter getting ready to put the hammer down. The kiddies getting ready to hunt as they come out of corner number 4, getting ready for the green flag. There it is at the flag stand. Barney gives it a wave, and we are underway for the first time this evening on Verdane TV.
The 11 car shooting all the way down to the grass on the bottom of the apron there. Not out of bounds like you would see usually on Daytona, Talladega, any of the plate racing tracks. There's no yellow line there, so there you can see Hunter in that number 11 Hello Kitty car moving his way up toward the front. Cedric doing a great job trying to hold that 77 Pepsi machine behind him, but 3 wide for second. That changes up real quickly already for a battle for the lead going into turn number 3.
77 sideways to the inside 3. Oh, that's not going to work. We got cars around at a corner number 4 to the inside, and that's going to draw the caution flag. And well, it's something you don't want to do early, especially on lap number 1 of a 133-lap race. The 77 of Whitley going around among them to bring out the first caution flag. And, Paul, that's going to bring us to a replay.
Yeah, I got to take a peek here at the Verdane.shop instant replay and find out exactly what's got us amiss here. And we're going to give it to you in a little bit of a slow-motion shot here. And there you can see 77 down low, the 32 down low, and you can see the 77 just kind of loses the back end of the race car. Big slide, tries to correct it, overcorrects it, and unfortunately Spotter didn't clear him. 32 car was there. The good news here, those drivers are going to go through the grass. It looks like 77 it looks like he's got that thing stopped before coming back up into the racing groove. So no major incidents, no major hits or anything like that. Just a couple of drivers that were up front going to have to restart in the back of the pack here.
I'm not sure if we can take a look at that replay from maybe the blimp or the helicopter view, Paul, but it looked like the 77, once he got that thing sideways, he had it saved. He kind of just drifts up the racetrack, and the 32 car was there early in this race. It's I don't know if there was mismanagement there or what have you, but the 77 almost looked like he had it saved.
Yeah, it definitely did. It looked like he had it saved, and it almost looked like he wanted to kind of maybe arc the front straightaway, because we've seen a lot of drivers do that, kind of arc the corners and such, but you know, it's hard to do that when there's a car there. And you can see it again here. You can see going for the lead, loses the back end of the race car, kind of shoots that the tail end up towards the outside of the track. There's that big wiggle there. Awesome job getting it saved. Doesn't even hit the apron. He gets the thing straightened out, and then you can see just kind of turns the car right, as if to try and maybe get a little bit of momentum or something on the front straightaway. Hard to tell, 200 miles an hour, 180 miles an hour going into the front stretch, but there you can see getting them locked down and avoiding any kind of collision with anybody else here. So, man, that's a tough break. Mark Whitley going to have to restart 28th.
It almost looked like the 32 was kind of turning into the corner at the same time, or turning out of the corner, maybe getting a little sideways at the same time. But nevertheless, they have some work to do. They had some great qualifying efforts, but Whitley will start back. Currently scored in 26th. McWhorter scored in 27th. They came down pit road to get service to both of those race cars. The one thing that does not change is the 11 of Cedric Hunter is still up front. The lights are still on atop the pace car, so we'll go one more lap. Let's move Josh Jones into the top 5 and Lane Doyle into the top 5 in car number 5. So a couple of drivers moving around, albeit not a whole lot of time to move. But the one thing I did see, Paul, is we saw a little bit of two-groove racing there, at least off the restart. Drivers jockeying for position and able to kind of make both lanes work, albeit we only had a half lap or three-quarters of a lap to show it. But that's a good sign, especially for any restarts we have here this evening.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of room to maneuver here at Kansas. There's a lot of different lanes and a lot of different driving styles in this pack. We can already tell, and it's kind of a weird situation in the schedule because last week we had Richmond, a short track, and next week we've got Martinsville. So it's kind of off just a little bit. A lot of drivers kind of concentrating on their short track game and coming out here to Kansas to pretty much hammer down and get up towards the front. They might be tweaking with the drivers just a little bit, but they'll make the best of it for sure.
For those that are watching on Verdane TV, if you want to drop us a comment and let us know who you're cheering for here this evening, do so. And, introduce me to some of these drivers. I know some of these drivers from some of the previous leagues that we've covered on Vidane TV. I know some of them from being around the sim racing world for a couple of years, but let me know who your favorite driver is, who you're cheering for. Drop it in the comments on the Facebook or maybe on the YouTube, and we'll try to get to you as we come around here as we get ready to go green. Once again, 5 laps will be completed, and Cedric Hunter will lead the field to green. Hayward in a second, Stempian in third, Josh Jones and Lane Doyle are your top 5. So we'll get ready to throw that green flag one more time and see if these drivers can find a rhythm. That's kind of hard, especially when you come off a race last week. You mentioned, Paul, you had so many cautions at Richmond. It's a short track, kind of leads to cautions. Trying to find yourself in a rhythm and try to get back to that point. Sometimes as a race car driver, easier said than done, regardless if it's in the sim or whether it's virtual or real or whatever.
Absolutely, and just waiting for these drivers to get around the track here. Just kind of taking a peek at the Facebook chat. Richard Beasley, good friend of both myself and Tim, hanging out in the chat, and he heard there was a Tide car, so he wanted to come and watch the race, and that Tide car currently running in the top 5 in 5th position in the 5 car. So that's half of Beasley's numbers, and I think we can all count that high.
he should hop in here. He knows a lot about this sim racing thing. Maybe he could help us out a little bit on a Sunday evening. But nevertheless, green flag flies. That Tide car in the number 5 is going to roll down into position number 5. That is Lane Doyle, and he'll pick up that spot over the car on the outside. That is the 88 of Chris Miller, one of the rookies on the field. As we race down the back straight away, the 11 of Cedric Hunter continues to lead this field. And Paul, from about second, third on back, that inside line kind of closed in a little bit. There was a little bit of incidental contact, but for the most part, I think everybody's kind of found their place to race right now.
Yeah, you see a lot of drivers jockeying for position on that front stretch, heading down to that apron, trying to get the most forward momentum as they possibly can, and a lot of drivers will kind of arc the corner in real late, and they'll try and run down on that apron. Again, not out of bounds here at Kansas Speedway, so that's definitely good news there, but it's just one of those things. It's really crazy to watch. A lot of drivers will run high and low, and then as soon as they come out of turn number 4, they scatter into about 16 different lines.
Josh Jones has found his way into a battle for the lead. He'll go to the inside of the 11 of Cedric Hunter and try to take that lead away from the inside, and we're starting to see a lot of those drivers gravitate to the outside line, and you saw it there off at turn number 2, the 76 not able to complete that pass, and got to really work on it for a couple laps to get down to that inside line and kind of make it happen. Kind of saw it with the real Homestead a little bit earlier on today, where you kind of had to make that move, albeit different racetrack, different layout, but you got to try to get that run and try to make that power move if you're going to make that inside work, and for some, it's going to be easier said than done here this evening, but Cedric Hunter is going to get away with the lead after that challenge from Josh Jones, and now here comes the 21 of Hunter Hayward, going to try to take position number 2, nothing doing off 2.
Hayward, last season's champion here at Sim Racing Unleashed. Really in the capper seat. You can see he loses the position to the 81, Steven Stepmian, at this point. But it doesn't really look like he's driving too crazy hard. He's just kind of biding his time a little bit, going around the track, picking up, doing his homework, doing some studying, seeing where the 11, the 76, and now the 81, seeing where they're a little bit stronger. You can see he shoots down low. It looks like he is going to have enough momentum to get around the 81. But does he have enough to get up and cross him up? Does not. By the time he gets back up to the high side there, he gets up to his door. So a lot of it looks like the low side is kind of sort of there, but it looks like it might be eating up some of these tires just a little bit because these drivers are having to drive that much harder down in the bottom.
It's there, but it's not there enough for most of these drivers to really make a spot up, Paul. We kind of saw it with the 76 at Jones, and the 76 is still working on the leader, but that's about all it is. The 81 is the one on the move. Stempian going to try to take a look to the inside of the 76 at Jones, and not going to be able to do it right there. Gets right back up to that bumper, down onto the entrance of 3, but not able to make any moves. The 21 of Hayward following him in the tire tracks, and Lane Doyle in 5th. We got a battle in behind them, or was a battle for 6th. Looks like Miller has taken that spot over Luke, and the 20 car will now get back into line as they continue to race for that spot. But a couple of the drivers taking a look, Paul, but that's really all it's been here in the last few laps.
Still very early on here, working lap number 12 of 133 here at Kansas. That's a long race. There you see the Tide car getting up on the wall just a little bit. Doesn't look like it hurt him too much. Definitely slowed him down, slowed down his forward momentum. You can see the 88, the flat black car of Chris Miller, a rookie here this season, with a little bit of a push there from the 20 of Luke Lafaro, another rookie class driver. A couple of good-looking race cars. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for flat black race cars, and that 88 definitely up in there. The 20 as well. It almost looks like one of the TNA Impact Wrestling trucks from a few years back.
And a great little battle here as Doyle tries to hold off the drivers trying to enter the top 5, at least at this point. There goes Luke to the upside, and the 34, another one of our rookies, Bordenau. I'm new to this series, so some new names to me, Paul, but the driver in the 34 trying to pick up one more here. Look at that run he gets off of turn at number 2, and that inside line, no really place to go there but backwards. So Lane finding a spot in behind, just outside the top 5, and plenty of laps to get it done. He might lose one more to Yarrow as the 95 goes to the inside.
Still taking a bit of time to learn some of these drivers and paint schemes teams. This is the second race here that Sim Racing Unleashed has been here with us on Verdane TV, and one of the things that popped out last week on their debut was that 34 paint scheme of Corey Burdenot, because, man, that is one of the most unique paint schemes I think I've seen in a Cup car in a very long time, Tim.
Yeah, numbers to the back of the car, to the quarter panel, or lower rear quarter, and it's a sharp-looking race car, and it's got some speed underneath it as he tries to move up one more, knocks on the door of a top 5 run here early. Top drivers up in front, Cedric Hunter, Josh Jones, Stempy in still single file, but a little bobble by the 76 going to open the door for the 81. We got a battle for position number 2 on our hands, and there goes the 81. 76 kisses the wall, gets stuck in that safer barrier, and here comes the 21 of Hayward, going to pick up one more.
Last season's champ comfortably moving himself into the 3rd position, a podium spot for now. And you can see the 76 having to drop back just a little bit to gather his thoughts. One of those things, Tim, in sim racing, as well as real life, especially with these safer barriers here, you get up in that wall, it almost acts as glue. It's really hard to, you don't want to jerk the wheel to the left, whether it's in real life or in the simulation, because that'll just completely spin the race car out. So you almost have to kind of finesse that thing off the wall, and in many cases, it's a lot easier said than done.
And still plenty of laps to feel out that race car, though. Jones going to have a little bit of damage to that 76, going to have to ride it out to the first pit stop. And even if that first pit stop is under green, he's probably still going to have to ride it out knowing that there's not going to be a whole lot of time to fix that car under the green flag. Hunter continues to lead, but keep an eye on the 81 car. He's closing in, or trying to close in, on the 11. There's a little bit of a gap there in between that car on your screen, the snap-on number 81, and the 11. Hunter has stepped away by about a half second. There's a nice shot of the gap. Back to position number 2. And it kind of was facilitated by that 76 getting into the fence. He was right there within a car length or so of the leader, but now the leader's got a little bit of breathing room. Looks like he's coming up potentially on a lap car here in a couple laps. That would be the Brad Delph, number 14.
Cedric Hunter doing a great job picking him up and putting him down here. Working the lap number 19-20 as they cross the stripe. Car looks really good. Car is clean all the way around, no damage or anything like that. And you can see kind of running right down on the apron, the front stretch. And there you can see way off in the distance going into turn 1 there, that lap car. So that may or may not be an issue here in the next couple of laps. But Cedric Hunter doing a great job. Steven Seppian in second. Hunter Hayward, last season's champion, running in 3rd. There you can see the top 3. About 10 to 15 car lengths in between each driver there. Josh Jones currently running 4th after scraping the wall just a little bit. And there you can see Luke Lafaro right in there. And you can bet that 20 car definitely saw that happen. You can see he's starting to close into the back bumper of the 76 as well.
Lafaro and the number 20 sitting in position number 5. And for the most part, besides a couple of close little battles that are nose to tail on this pack, Paul, it looks like for the most part everybody's kind of found a place to race. The closest battle within the top 10 is probably Michael Yarrow, closing in on Braden Caress for position number 7. And it's a battle, but the 95, gets to the inside, gets that run, but can't really do anything with it on that DoorDash car in front of him, and not able to get close enough to really make that move. In behind them, it looks like we're starting to see a little bit of a battle as well. That's Stephen Leffler on Chris Miller, and the Miller car has got a little bit of damage to the back end of that number 88. A little bit of a crinkle up there that may affect him a little bit. Gets a little bit sideways off of corner number 2, opens the door. That momentum down to the 72, and the budget Simbox's car looking to pick up 1.
Look like he's going to have the momentum to get just about up to him, and he might see... Yeah, you can see the 88 loses it in the corner just a little bit. Running a little bit loose, that 88 car is. So he's going to drop back in position, move that 72 of Stephen Leffler up, and 88's actually going to drop out of the top 10 here as Dylan Zelms, another rookie here, in the 57. He moves himself.
And in behind them, those are the 2 cars that had that issue early in the race, Paul. The 77 of Mark Whitley and the 32 of Joseph McWhorter. That was the 2 drivers that had the set 2 that come together on the first lap of the race. They've already worked their way back up from outside the top 20 to 12th and 13th place, respectively. And it wouldn't surprise me in a few laps if they're knocking on the door of what would be a top 10 run with the way this battle is going. So a little bit of a side note on this run. They're coming back through the field, albeit on a probably 1 lap newer tires. Not sure what they did on the pit stop, but these drivers do have 4 sets of tires available to them, 1 that was on the car and 3 that are on pit road, and that's probably with 133 laps. It's probably going to have the pit strategy works out. So as I say that, they're probably on the same tires as those guys in front of them, but they're carving through the field like a hot knife through butter. There's the 77 to the inside. He'll pick up 1 on Chris Miller to move to 11th.
And you see these 2 drivers still sticking, kind of not quite bumper to bumper, but they are still nose to tail running together, kind of working through this traffic together. So 77 doing most of the work, getting the drivers out of the way, and the 32 just kind of tagging along for the ride. And you can see similar lines. Both drivers appear to like the outside. 77 tried to get up around Mark Whitley, tried to go down low of the 88 of Miller last time by. That didn't work, so he's going to go even higher than the 88, which is the 88's been running up by that wall. He's going to bring the 32 with him. Joseph McWhorter going to try and kind of push that 77 up around the 88 and hope he can tack on with the draft. Well, that plan gets changed because 88 Chris Miller moves up in between those 2 cars, but give that position over to Mark Whitley.
The 88 of Chris Miller, a little bit aggressive, I think, on that move compared to, what we might see from some of those drivers 26, 27 laps into this race, knowing that the drivers behind might be just a skosh quicker early in the run. Short-term pain for long-term gain, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. But you can see the 77 yard, the 88 of Miller and Whitley closing in on what would be a top 10 run, though he's got a little bit of time to catch Dylan Zelms and Stephen Leffler. And looks like the 34 car's falling back, Paul. I'm not sure what happened to Corey on that run, whether he got the wall or got into the groove or whatever the case may be, but he was knocking on the door of a top 5 run here just a few moments ago, and now he's going backwards. He started in 11th. He's headed back that way now.
Yeah, currently running in the 9th position. There you can see the 77 car really quickly moving on to the back bumper, the 57. That's going to be Dylan Zelms. And you can see Zelms starting to close in on the back bumper of the 34 as well. So see if we can maybe change up the camera angles just a little bit, maybe get a glimpse. It looks like he may have tagged that right side wall, or the right side of the car on the outside wall. Really hard to tell with the bunch of different colors and shadows and stuff on the car itself, but definitely seems like he's that gap behind him is closing between the 57 and that 77. Mark Whitley really starting to move around, and you can see Chris Miller still has a mirror full here of the 32 of Joseph McWhorter.
And for the 32, he's trying to get by, but with those tires that we mentioned a little bit earlier, hello, yeah, there's a moment for those drivers at a turn number 4. And I was about to say for the 32, it might be getting a little bit frustrating trying to run behind those guys, as there's another battle on our screen. I believe that might be the 5 car to the outside, and Lane losing a couple of more positions all the way back to 16th place now. But with that 32 battle that we saw and McWhorter moving up a spot, you'd have to believe he saw Whitley move by and maybe had a little bit of trouble with that 88. Maybe he was getting a little bit frustrated trying to get by, and finally was able to get by. But you see this battle right here, Whitley still has McWhorter behind him, but look at all the space he's got now. That 88 kind of held up that number 32 a little bit, but still, they're racing for position. It's his prerogative. But trying to watch these two come from the back of the field it's been fun so far. And now the battle for position number 10. Whitley is almost back to that top 10 as he battles side by side with that 57.
Pick it up, put it back down. Move Mark Whitley into that 10th position. He's going to rejoin the top 10. You can already see putting a big gap between him and the Zelms machine, setting his sights in on that 34 car, who's seemed to be struggling the past couple of laps. And one thing I actually want to take a quick look at here, Tim, is this number 91 car, because we've seen that, I guess it's an orangish red kind of tangerine looking color, but it's really bright, and it's been on the left side of your screen. And just I want to look, it's just how close to the wall he's running. He's a little bit further down this time by, but there, well, he was real close to the wall that time.
Yeah, he tried to deliver the good run at a turn number 4, but just got a little too close that time in the DoorDash number 91 of Caress, and he touched the wall there just a little bit, slightly, coming out of turn number 4. But that outside line, that's where most of these drivers seem to be running, but it's like this racetrack, the Homestead, some of the other racetracks in this iRacing sim, and in real life too, that you have to get real close to that wall and try to flirt with it and not get yourself snuck into it and sucked into it to make this thing happen and make it go fast. In front of Caress, got a battle on our screen as you see the 95. Take a look down to the inside. That is Yarrow, as Yarrow will pick up that spot, and now we'll see the 72 of Leffler go to the inside of Caress, and 91 going a little bit backwards now, and 34 laps in, Paul. Fuel load gets a little bit lighter. Tires are not exactly where they were early in this run. This is where these some of these cars will start to drop off a little bit, and we're starting to see it from the 91.
That's one of those things that it's really going to be up to the driver's discretion how they do their setup, how they manage it. If they're going to go for a short track run or a short run setup or a long run setup. A lot of times you don't really expect to possibly go green for an entire fuel run. And here on Verdane TVs, you see the 34 move right up on the back bumper of Caress. Got a Caress on the back bumper, if you will, and moving into the picture comes Mark Whitley. He's going to try for a twofer, I would imagine, here, because he seems like he's got the quicker setup. But with these drivers that maybe they're set up for the short run, or they're not quite set up for the long run, and they're kind of waiting for, or they're banking on the fuel load always being there, because the more fuel is in the car, obviously the heavier it's going to be, and that's going to affect the handling on these race cars. Even in the simulation, there's a lot of science behind it, but it's one of those things, sometimes you can't really plan for it. Some guys, it might be a difference of, possibly the 34 car. We see he's dipping back here a little bit. Got a little bit loose there, but I think he might have had just a little bit of a nudge from the 77. But no harm, no foul. But you can see he's starting to lose the back end of that race car, and I'm almost wondering if maybe he started with a tighter setup, not expecting to go this long in a green flag run.
And there's the 77 slapping the wall and almost slapped the 91 coming down off it, but they still keep it straight. The 77 coming from the back of the field, Mark Whitley trying to pick up one more, and he will do so. And now the 57 of Zelms tries to pick up one more in behind as the 91 continues his free fall from the top 10. He'll be scored in 11th place that last time by the stripe. We got a battle for position number 2 shaping up, Paul. The 21 of Hayward has caught Stempian, takes a look to the inside on the entrance to turn number 3. Going to try to make it happen here, and I don't think he's going to have enough momentum to take it off 4, but the 81 gets that run outside and will pick up position number 2 again. Hayward still fighting to the inside.
A lot of these drivers are able to get a really good run coming into the corners on that low side, but as soon as they get about halfway through, they have to kind of gas back up, throttle back up, if you will, and it seems like they're losing the back end of the race car, loosening them up just a bit. Where on the high side, you can kind of keep that forward momentum. You can kind of make sure that everything just keeps going the way it's going, and you don't really have to let off as much. You don't have to hit the brakes as much or anything like that. And it's a little bit smoother on the top side, and we see that happening time and time again here. These drivers are in a really good spot, though, to try and test out a couple of things. Right now, looking at the timing and scoring, it looks like Cedric Hunter, he's gone. The 11 car has checked out. He's got a 2.1 second lead over the 81 and 21 here of Stempian and Hayward, and behind these guys it's another about a second and a half, 2 seconds. So a little bit of room to maneuver, a little bit of maneuver to room to experiment a little bit, and we kind of saw that. Hunter Hayward kind of dipped down low to see if he can maybe take a stab at that position number 2, but didn't quite have the momentum. So now you can see kind of slipping back again just a little bit, and he's going to go back to doing his homework, trying to see study the 81, see where that car hiccups, where he's slower, where he's quicker, and pretty much just reverse that and stick that in the tank and run with it.
and they're starting to come up with some lap traffic as well, as the leader has just put a lap on Chiswick and Duguay as they both battle side by side for the what would be the free pass spot right now, Paul, as they come out of corner number 4, and you can see it off the back bumper of your leader, and they get back to single file as they work around this racetrack. We have 41 laps completed.
Been green for about 40 laps here, and still taking a look again at timing and scoring. The 28th car is still on the lead lap. That's going to be the Ethan Mackel machine, a rookie in this class. The Busch Ice car. It's a shame Mikey's not here. You got a kick out of that paint scheme. But you can see a lot of damage to that car, it looks like. It's seen better days for sure, and he's about 28 seconds off the lead lap. So, going to be open for a caution, but trying to stay on the lead lap, trying to stay up with that number 9 car there. You see him, Byron Bartlett.
Yeah, they are battling to stay ahead of that lead car that you see there. 43 laps being worked on the board. And Paul, I'm not sure what we're looking at for a pit stop on this race. I'd almost think with being Kansas, you could probably make it on 2 stops comfortably, especially where we are right now. I don't know if anybody would be able to stretch it to 1. I don't think anybody would be able to stretch it to 1. Maybe somebody at the back that might be saving a little more fuel than the others, but that is going to come into play now. I don't want to jinx us. I'll touch some wood here, but we've been caution free since the very first lap when we had that little incident for what would have been second place. Hayward trying to chase down Stempian as you see the 21 car roll around in position number 3. There's the second place driver, 2 seconds now behind your leader, Cedric Hunter.
And you can bet, Tim, these drivers are definitely thinking about those green flag pit stops. And some drivers are good with it. Some drivers don't necessarily practice it. That's the last thing on their mind. So we may see a lot of locked up tires, a couple of speeding penalties as these drivers try to get woed up down to pit road speed. But it's also one of those things. We've seen a lot of different strategies in this Cup car on Wednesday nights with the Fathead Cup Series and now Sunday nights with these guys here in Sim Racing Unleashed. There's a lot of different things you can do and a lot of different things that can affect the handling. You can go with 2 tires. I don't think we're going to see anybody take no tires, but potentially taking 2 tires versus 4 tires, trying to get that track position. Because right now, if this thing stays green, Tim, it's going to be a track position race for sure. Cedric Hunter in that Hello Kitty 11 car, he gone. 2.5 seconds ahead of this battle for second place.
And you know what? Looking at lap times and looking at the third place driver, Hunter Hayward, his fastest lap of the race was the full lap when we went back to green on lap number 7, which would have been technically a lap after these drivers got up to speed, was a 30.1. His last lap was a 31.6, and he's been bouncing around 31.6, 31.7. So these drivers have fallen off tire-wise about a second and 3/4 or so, give or take the driver, as the 72 finds his way onto pit roads. This might pop the cork on green flag pit stops, and especially if you're running, if you know those guys up in front of you are close, maybe undercut them by a couple of laps, come down, get your 4 fresh tires, and try to make up some of that time. As the 72, we saw him running in the top 10 earlier in this race, so maybe trying to undercut some of his peers. As long as he doesn't make a mistake on pit road, he should be able to pick up a couple of spots here, at least on the run, as Byron Bartlett goes 1 lap down.
Couple of drivers from mid-pack on back coming down pit road, and you said it better than I think anybody could say it, popping the cork on the pit stops for sure, because these drivers that are pitting now, getting 4 fresh Goodyear tires on those race cars, they're going to be about 1.5 seconds quicker than these guys that are still out here on 49 lap tires. So 49, this probably a 2-stop race, I would think. 50 laps, if these guys can go 50 laps, they'll probably come down right around lap 100 or so, and that gives them 33 laps to go at that point. May very well see some short pitting as well. It all depends on how this pit stop goes. This is a stop that the crew chiefs really need to pay attention to, because if pitting early gains a lot of momentum and gains you a lot of that track position, you might want to consider doing that for the second round of pit stops coming up here if this thing stays green.
Yeah, going 50 laps, these drivers would have to make a second stop, and realistically, at this point, you split that 83-ish lap run into a 40-ish lap run from here on in. But it all depends on what we see here on these green flag pit stops. Do we see a caution flag? Do we see anybody make a mistake? What happens here on this run down to pit road is going to be just as key as what happens on the racetrack. Top 3 are staying out on the racetrack to 21. If Hayward puts a lap on Byron Bartlett, so the top three, no flinches right now, at least coming down the pit road.
Yeah, other than the 72 of Stephen Leffler, there was a couple of other drivers that pitted that lap. Robert Cheswick in the 6, Terry Duguay in the 05, Brad Delph, and Mark Kosnick. They all came down a couple of laps ago. Check that. Brad Delph is down a couple of laps, pitted about 30 laps ago. But 2 or 3 drivers in the back of the pack kind of came down. Their last lap, the 72, for example, ran a 30.242. Now, he needs this thing to stay green because he's got to pass 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers that are already a lap down, and then he's going to have to cycle all the way back through the running order. But his last lap was a 30.2 compared to the leader, Cedric Hunter's 31.761. So just a second and a half quicker every single lap.
Until those tires kind of level out, and if these guys, I don't think they can go halfway, Paul. I don't think it would really make a whole lot of sense to go halfway if you're these guys, and I don't know if they can go with the fuel wise to get to that point. So eventually those tires are going to level out. Undercutting by a couple laps seems like the target, the 72, may come out with this lead, but if he does, I don't think it's going to be for long. As we await those drivers in front and see if the 11 decides to flinch. He puts a lap on the 65 of Paul Rigney, who is going to come down on the pit road at this time. The 11 will stay out on the racetrack. There's the 77 on your screen. 57 also down. So this is the second half, per se, of the top 10 coming down now.
Yeah, a couple of quick drivers coming down, and we saw the 77 running up towards the front first handful of laps, but coming down, 4 fresh tires, a little bit of gasoline. Well, a whole bunch of gasoline, and looks like the 16, a little bit of an extended stop there. Nope, that was 50 laps ago. Throw those notes out the window because those don't matter anymore. But we're still taking a look at Cedric Hunter out front, working lap number 55 as he crosses the stripe. Made no intention of coming down pit road that time. Looks like the top 16 cars still have not made a pit stop, so if the caution comes out, we're going to see a big jumble up in the field here, just kind of running through some of those drivers that have moved right outside the top 10. 10th right now, Jason Adams, David Neese in the 27, currently running 11th. James Byron running 12th, Robbie Darnell, Dave Bush, Art Milner, Kevin Roy, Ethan Macwa, and Steve Leffler, Michael Yarrow rounding out the 10th through 20th. So bringing a couple of newer names a little bit closer to the front. Not quite where they want to be at the end of the race, but definitely puts it within striking distance.
And when you look towards Leffler, you mentioned his name sitting in position number 18, 1 lap down right now, and he's going down into corner number 1, and the leader is a little bit in front of him, so still needs to make up some time, but you can start to see it now with your leader, the 11. Just had Lane Doyle make a move on him to put him on the tail end of 1 lap down, I believe. That'll put the 5 there, but he is carving like a hot knife through butter. Going to go down underneath this lap car. Now the leader is going to have to try to tiptoe around a couple of slower race cars, including Kevin Roy and Art Milne in the 15. And this is kind of where, if you're the leader, you've got a bunch of different strategies here. You got the slower cars in front of you. You got some faster cars who are just on pit road trying to blaze by you. You really have to manage your race and really have to be careful right about now. As the 15 gives the leader a little bit of grief coming out of corner number 4. The 11 hops the radio, gets by, and now we'll resume what he's doing and pace his race.
And speaking as a driver with experience of being in the back of the pack almost every single time I've ever driven one of these simulated races here, it's tough when you go to get lapped like this long into a green flag run, because if you're running that slow and you're that far in the back, something is off with the setup. You're not. It's not handling correctly. You're going to be putting more wheel into it. You're going to be burning the tires up. Your tires are probably more worn than the leaders, and you're really not able to control the car. And oh, by the way, the leader expects you to give him that high line. So you're going to have to try and force your car to where you haven't been driving it for the past 30 to 40 to 50 laps potentially, and it's big messes, big recipes for cautions. And speaking of which, the yellow flag comes out. Looks like it might have been the 36 car right in front of our leader here.
Yeah, it was started with the 05, I believe, of Terry Duguay to bring out the yellow flag, and you talked about messes and right in front of the leader, and this is one of them. And it starts with the 05, I think, getting into the wall in the middle of the corner, and then it transferring on. But Paul, we'll take a look at the Vidane.shop instant replay. Go over and get yourself a dad hat and tip the cap to this one.
Yeah, and there you can see it running kind of side by side with the 04 there. 04 gets the better of them there. You can see Lane going by in that tide ride and gets stuck in that wall glue, as I get stuck in my words there. Bounces off the outside wall and slaps one of his competitors. We're going to back that up and give it a little slow motion look ski here to see. There you see coming out of the turn, slaps the wall, and actually this is even further back. Slap the wall on the front stretch and comes down, gets stuck in the wall butter up here. You can see giving it a good scrape, letting the sparks fly here, giving the fans a couple of things to take a photograph or two of. And there you can see the 27 car coming up in your picture. It's not going to be him. It's going to be the car right behind him, the Mobile 1 scheme. And you can see he slaps the wall here, crosses up, and boom, big hit. Still didn't catch the number on that car. But big contact between the fronts of these race cars. It's going to be one of those things, Tim. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that black smoke signifying a popped motor.
But the good news is for some of those drivers, including Terry Duguay, they do have one quick repair at their disposal in this race. So they'll have an opportunity to come down and get a fresh race car as the field will come down. And this is kind of where the strategy is going to come into play. We're not exactly to halfway. Everybody is going to have to make at least one more pit stop after this one here. So there's still some time to kind of make up and time to play out in this race, but the 11 is going to win that race off of pit road.
Literally everybody down on pit road getting service one way or another on these cars, and it even looks like some of the drivers that already came down pit road have come down a second time. Or they will be. A couple drivers trapped a lap down. They're going to get the wave around here and get put on the tail end of the wave, the lead lap. But Cedric Hunter still up front in that Hello Kitty car.
Yeah, the pit stop strategy didn't play out to Leffler's favor and those drivers that were already down on the pit road to get service to their race cars. It's a tough break for them, but now everybody is, I don't want to say on the same strategy, but with this amount of laps left in this race, just shy of halfway, you definitely have to make one more pit stop. Regardless if you came down on that first run, you still have to make one more stop. So there's that too when it comes to strategy. But we'll see what happens here and see if anybody can top those top three. Hunter, Stempian, and Hayward have been the class of the field so far today.
And it's really going to mix up the strategies here, especially if we have a long couple of green flag runs. Or even one big green flag run leading us up to the finish here. Looking at the timing and scoring, you got about 70-ish, math isn't all that great, 75-ish maybe, laps to go here at Kansas. And we just saw that most of these drivers can, in fact, make it 50 laps. They're definitely much slower. We saw the first lap versus last lap with a couple of the drivers was about a second and a half per lap difference. So when does that change? Do you stay out a little bit longer, try and hope for a caution and hold on to those tires for later on in the race, or do you split this thing in the middle, come down after 40 laps, get tires, and you know you can make it either way? Do you come down a little bit earlier, maybe get a 10, 15 laps or so of quick times as everybody else tries to catch up, and then hope for another quick caution after that? A lot of different scenarios can play out here, especially with some green flag racing.
I think if you're the leaders, I think you want to see this go another 40 or 50 laps and get to your window, per se, of when you want to come down and make one more stop. We mentioned four sets of tires off the top of the show. They've already used one set of tires right there. They used one set of tires in the first run, so for the 11, for the 21, for the 81, those drivers that are up front, they would still have two sets of tires left in the pits. So realistically, if we go 40, 50 laps here, Paul, and then we see a caution, you use one more set of tires, then you got one more in the bank for a green-white checker or a 10-lap dash at the end of the race. So the way this is playing out, obviously would have liked to see more green flag racing, would have liked to see those guys down on pit road under the green flag. If you like strategy, I think this is starting to play out pretty neat if we do get some green flag racing here.
A lot of big brain sim racing going on, and some of these drivers do it solo. They don't have anybody else in the room or anybody else in the voice chat. Some drivers have multiple people in a voice chat, kind of crew chief / spotter roles, as you will. So and a lot of these drivers have car-to-car communications, being on the same team, working together. So a lot of different strategies getting bounced back and forth. As you can see, the lights come back on there on the iRacing Mustang pace car. So must be something towards the back of the pack we're not seeing. A lot of drivers were trapped a lap down under that caution, so we might be getting that all worked out. But good opportunity to thank again everybody over in the Facebook chat of Verdane TV, facebook.com/Verdane TV. We're upwards of 1,800 follows on the Facebook page, and most of that happened within the past 12 months. March of last year's when we really got started here with this Verdane TV deal, and up over 450 subscribers on YouTube, which is just monumental to us, and we definitely appreciate it. Wouldn't be doing this stuff if it weren't for the fans, and appreciate you guys tuning in here tonight on a Sunday night, checking out the Sim Racing Unleashed guys. Let us know who you're driving for. Let us know, a lot of relatives, friends, families, girlfriends, whomever. Let us know who you're rooting for, who's going to win this race, who you think's going to win the race, and let us know where you're watching from, too. Always good to know what parts of the country, or countries in this case. A couple of drivers in here and a commentary guy from Canada. So it's always cool to know where in the world everybody is, especially the fans, the drivers. Kind of brings this thing full circle.
And I know we have a couple of Hunter Hayward fans in the chat as well. So tip of the cap to you guys. Your driver's running position number 2 and now has an opportunity to take the lead, but it's been dominated by Cedric Hunter so far in car number 11 as the pace car will duck off this time. We'll be back to racing at the completion of lap number 64. Fielding command of the Hello Kitty number 11 of Cedric Hunter, and we get ready to see that green flag drop one more time, and the 81 down to the inside, and we'll go one more lap. Never mind. We'll go one more as the pace car remains on the racetrack.
Well, we'll see what the deal is. There you can see the lights are off. Not quite sure. We don't have any kind of direct line of communication to the race officials. Wondering if they're kind of sorting things out. I do see on the timing and scoring, the list is jumbling up just a little bit. But as we go through the field, it appears that everybody is back towards the back of the pack here. Looks like they're still trying to figure it out. Trying to get all the lap cars to the back, it looks like. I think we're finally there. It also looks like there's a lot of drivers with an end of longest line penalty here, Tim. Because we're seeing most of these drivers are sticking down on that bottom side. Well, maybe not. Looks like they're trying to maybe stack them up. I'm not quite sure.
I think those are the wave around cars that got the wave around when those leaders came down onto pit road to get their tires and their fuel. But I think after 2 laps, they have it figured out. And if not, they should probably just let it go anyway, because they're probably not going to figure it out with another lap of yellow flag conditions. We talked about drivers with spotters and crew chiefs and whatever in their ear. And looks like we're going to go this time. The iRacing Ford Mustang pace car pulls into the infield, and the 11 of Hunter are going to lead them down to green. There is the green flag. We are back underway, and the 11 right straight to the apron, going to be able to come back up here, and we'll see who wins this race. Down into corner number 1, going to be the 11. The 81 of Stemping going to try to get to the inside of the 21 of Hayward and try to battle for second here.
There you can see the 11 was pulling away earlier on in the race. There you can see a great big shot, a huge run from the number 21 of Hayward. Gets right up to the back bumper and gives Hunter a big push coming into the turns. Backed off just a little bit. Didn't want to push him all the way around. And you can see these drivers up front with fresh drivers feeling like Superman. Not able to get away is the number 11 cars. There you can see we're going to go 3 wide for the lead. 81, 21, 11.
The 11 is going to have this run off of the corner. The 21 of Hayward going to try to take it away from him, and now it's a 3-wide battle, but it's a 3-wide battle for third because the 20 of LaFaro going to be on the outside, the 32 of McWhorter in the middle, and on the bottom going to be the 81 of Stempian, and here comes the 21. Couldn't get to the 11 that time off of corner number 4 to take that lead, but these drivers are racing like it's the last lap, and we're just shy of the halfway point right now.
A lot of mirror driving happening from Cedric Hunter, and you can definitely expect that being a leader here at Kansas, as you made mention, just about at halfway here. Trying to lay the block down on Hunter Hayward just a little bit. You can see the gap stays about the same, 5 to 6 car lengths, and it looks like the front 5 or 6 cars, check that, are going to go single file, so that's good news. give everybody an opportunity to breathe and do a little bit more homework, study. Where's your driver in front of you going slower? Where's he going quicker? How long is it going to take the DoorDash car to get up to the McDonald's car? Because this guy could really use a double cheeseburger.
He wants to try to deliver it to the lead, but the 32 of McWhorter wants to get to the lead. That was a driver a little bit earlier on in this race on lap number 1 that was the innocent bystander of the battle between himself and the 77 of Whitley. And now a crossover move by the 21 of Hayward going to put him back to second. McWhorter going to fall back to third after a great timed run to take that spot, but now he's going to have to reset himself and try to take second place back and maybe try to play a little bit of defense because the 32 has LaFaro right in behind him, waiting to make a move of his own. But the 11 of Hunter on this restart, calm, cool, and collected. Even if they were 2 and 3 wide, he was able to pick up the lead and continue to lead this field around. 70 laps completed right here past the halfway point.
Tim, if the timing was off on either one of those cars, even by a half a second last time by, that would have been disastrous. There was no room for that 32 car, but he absolutely made it work and didn't quite have the momentum to hold on to the spot. But there you can see back there in that third position, studying, getting on the back bumper. He's able to really close in on the entry of the corners. But there you can see 21 of Hunter Hayward just has a monstrous run coming off of these corners and shooting back down to the bottom of the apron. I got a feeling if one of these guys can get around the 11 car and maybe utilize some of that clean air, they may very well check out.
Yeah, if they continue to do that, the 11 may be able to build a little bit of a lead like he was before on that first run. But the 11 was so consistent. There was a battle for second that allowed him to kind of break that bubble and get away with the lead. And I think if they do that again, as you mentioned, he might end up being able to rebuild what he had prior to that green flag pit stop and then ultimately that caution flag that came along with it. Stempy going to go to the inside. LaFaro going to try to pick up position number 4 here. McWhorter flashes the nose to the inside looking for second on Hayward, but it's all behind Cedric Hunter as they run down the back straightaway. Lap 73 being worked on the board, and there's the 20 on the attack. Gives that shot to the 32, and the 32 says, why not? He's trying to pick up 2 for 1, going to try to get up to the leader. He is to the door. What a shove from the 20 to put the 32 up here battling for the lead.
Give that lap to the 11, but the battle's not over yet. 32 still up by the door, and he's going to have enough momentum to get around him. Does he move up in front of him to try and cut him off? There you see it, and that's going to be a bump from the 11. Holds on to it. Both drivers get a little bit squirrely after the contact. 32 getting up there, making sure he holds on to that position, but he's doesn't even look like he's going to have enough. Well, it looks like he might have enough to hold on if he can hold on to that run on the outside line. Hunter Hayward dipping down low. They're now door-to-door for the lead as they cross the stripe. Give that lap to the number 32, Joseph McWhorter.
What a battle up in front. The 32 car coming from almost 4th place, 3rd and 4th place to get up and take the lead. And now Hunter, for the first time this evening, is stuck in behind traffic. He might fall out of the top 5 here. Braden Caress going to go to the inside. If you asked me on this restart if the 11 would be battling for a top 5 run, I'd probably tell you were crazy, Paul, but he's now in position number 6 as the DoorDash car tries to pick up one more to 4th.
Yeah, we know right off the rip the 11 car handles very, very good in clean air, and now we're getting the first taste of dirty air in the front of the nose on the Hello Kitty machine of Cedric Hunter, and you can see all over the back of the 91 DoorDash car, Braden Cares is just trying to hold on to the top 10. As you can see, running in the 6th position right now after getting passed by the 32, and there we see it. Gap is about 0.3 of a second, so as soon as that clean air hit the nose of the 32, really put him in a good spot, and you can see he's still pulling away inches every lap here over Hunter Hayward, but still definitely some forward progress in the 32 camp.
And after having to come from the back of the field on lap number 1, yes, he qualified in 5th, but he had to go to the back of the field along with the 77 of Whitley, and now he is back up here. Whitley is actually in a battle himself with Dakota Bryan for position number 8. So the 77 is trying to get up here as well. There's that battle on your screen. That is the battle for 8. The 26 of Todd Neese right in behind him, and then Josh Jones not too far behind that battle either. But the 77 hasn't had, I don't want to say the luck, but he hasn't really had the breaks. We saw the 32 able to get up there and kind of slice his way to the lead. The 77 really didn't have that break that the 77 or the 32 did. Check that. And he's still battling back here, but there's still plenty of laps to get this done. you're looking at over 50 laps to go now to try to make this happen.
And we're starting to move into the point of the race where these drivers can make it on one more pit stop whenever they come down. So if these drivers slow down, right now we're looking at lap times. Joseph McWhorter, the current leader, 30.9, and pretty much everybody else is, that was a super quick lap. That was out in clean air, it looks like. Hunter Hayward, for example, 31.0. The 20 of Luke Lafaro, 31.0. Pretty much the top 5 status quo, 31.0, compared to 30.2, 30.0, about a second quicker on those cleaner tires. Yes, the tires are going to fall off after 10 to 15, maybe potentially 20 laps, but that gives you a bunch of time to get out there and try and make up some track position, try and do something a little bit different than these leaders are doing out front. But at this point, a lot of the guys out front, they don't want to try and gamble, they don't want to try and outsmart anybody, so you'll see pretty much halfway through the run, depending on however many laps it were when we pitted, they're going to split that right in half. I can make it 40 laps, therefore I can make it 40 laps.
You saw it on the battle on your screen a couple of moments ago between the 77 and the 56 of Whitley and Brian, but Brian and Whitley making that contact, the 56 car is destroyed on the right-hand side after that contact, after getting shoved into the wall by the 77. On that exchange, and he's going to lose one more to Todd Neese, and here comes Josh Jones in behind. So the rookie in the 56 car, Brian, hard-nosed battle with the 77 car, and he's going to be the one to lose out. The 77 is able to move himself up to position number 8 and tries to chase down those drivers in front, albeit there's about a 3.5-second advantage on the front 7 or so who still run in a draft in a line together at the front of this field, led up by McWhorter. Hunter Hayward has a little bit of a bobble in turn number 2. It allows the 81 of Stempian to get back to the inside. So a battle for second now between the 21 and the 81, two familiar foes near the front of this field, and the 81 almost bought the farm coming off of 4.
Just about, and there you can see the McDonald's machine of Hayward moves, holds on to that second position, and they're going to line them up bumper to bumper. There you can see the top 4 almost in the same screenshot there. Luke Lafaro holding on to the 4th position right now. Everybody pretty much single file status quo up front, and you can see that again it gives the 21 a little bit more time to kind of do some studying. As you can see, the 81 closing in on the back bumper once again. See if he maybe tries to shoot down high. Looks like he's got a big run here, Tim. Going to cross the stripe. It's going to be almost right on his back bumper. Going to be an interesting 1 and 2, I would say.
Yeah, going to battle it out for that second place position, and then behind them, Lafaro is trying to reel back in those 2 that are battling for that position. As a couple of words being exchanged middle of the pack in some of those battles, but I think everything is status quo back there as this battle for second continues to heat up. Stempian trying to find a run and try to make it work, because we've seen drivers go to the inside, not able to make it work. If he can get the nose to the outside here, this may upset that battle, but the 21 of Hayward not able to let him in, or not letting him into the outside, easier said than done, is a little bit of a slide from Stempian, and now a little more slide coming out of corner number 2 is going to allow the 20 car to get to the inside or outside. Lafaro going to try to make it happen for position number 3, maybe the 81 overdriving it a little bit here, Paul.
Yeah, and you can see the 20, a little bit of a wiggle there from the back bumper of the 20 car, but doesn't look like it slowed him down at all. He closes right in, and you can see inching closer and closer to the back bumper of the 81. Almost looked like he had enough to maybe give him a shot there, but he backed up just a little bit, thought better of it, and he's going to try and give it just a few more laps, a lap or 2 at least, to see if he can maybe scout that out just a little bit better. We know the low side, it's a potential thing. It can definitely possibly maybe work. But on these older tires, as we're getting, it looks like 25, 26 laps on these tires, low side's really not going to work. That's going to be something that these drivers are going to have to try and hold on to for when they do get tires here in a couple of laps.
Yeah, we're starting to see some of those drivers kind of slip around a little bit. You kind of hinted at the 40 and 40 mark per se on pit stops. The pit window is open right now, but I think we're going to see some differing strategies as we saw on that first run. And we saw these, I was going to say the top 3, but now it's McWhorter instead of Hunter leading this race. The second and third place drivers are still kind of the second and third place drivers. And mention Hunter. Hunter's about to lose one more because the 34 car has got to the outside of him, and they'll battle side by side for fifth. So Hunter was kind of clawing his way back, but he's going to lose one more and move back to position number 6. So the former leader is a caution flag will fly. I was going to say that the former leader not handling traffic as well as getting that clean air up in front, but we'll slow him back down again. Yellow flag is out, and I see the 56 in pit road.
Yeah, the 56 been handling some handling issues. That car handling like it's got a split personality, so to speak. But did come down a couple laps ago to make a pit stop. He got a little bit fresher tires. He's got a full tank of fuel at this point, and we can see as he goes into turn number 1, really closes in very, very quickly on the back bumper of the number 76. You can see really just no time at all. He's right there just because of those quick tires. And as he shoots down low, feeling like Superman, just kind of overcorrected it just a little bit. Did a really good job holding on to that for about 90% of that wreck, but unfortunately did end up losing it at the end and made some nose contact on the inside wall. The good news is a single car spin here at Kansas and was well out of the racing groove. So tough break for the 56 of Dakota Bryan. It does look like he has retired from this event, but currently scored in the 27th position. But Tim, pit road's a busy spot right now.
Yeah, final opportunity or final money stop if this thing stays green. If we get a caution, they got one more set of tires for most of these drivers down on pit road. But for the most part, this will be the money stop as McWhorter hits his box. The 81 of Stempney and overshoots a little bit, and he'll have to back up. He may lose a little bit of time sitting down here on pit road, but we'll see who ends up winning this race off. Tough break for Bryan as the 32 wins the race off pit road. The 21 of Hayward, and that little slip by the 81 is going to cost him 3 spots. Stempy going to fall back a couple of spots. But I was about to say that tough break for Bryan because he was running up in the top 10. He was the one that had the little set to with Whitley about halfway through that run and got a little bit of that damage and kind of got put behind the 8 ball. But tough break for the 56 car. He'll try it again, come back next week and see what he can do. I believe you said Martinsville's next week, right?
Yeah, and anything can happen at the Paperclip Martinsville Speedway. One of my favorites here in the iRacing service. One of my favorites in real life, too. Always exciting action and really looking forward to it. And here with these guys at Kansas, man, these guys are putting on a great show. Had a lot of green flag pit stops. Almost had the opportunity to maybe play out a little bit of strategy here. Big brain sim racing, I like to call it. I actually just started calling that 20 minutes ago because I just made it up. But it's these guys have been putting on a clinic here at Kansas. Really, really good race. And this is the second race these guys have been here on Verdane TV. And very excited to have them. Still some marketing opportunities available. So if you're out there watching and you want to get your brand or your company, maybe your team or your esports league or whatever you've got, if you want to get your logo attached to these guys and let the fans know that you support sim racing as we support the fans, give us a shout. Shoot us a line over on the Verdane TV Facebook, and we can definitely get you hooked up with the Sim Racing Unleashed group. Lots of stuff going on at Verdane TV as well in the coming couple of months. We've got the Sim 500 Trans Service Cup Series on Monday nights, Wednesday nights. We're doing a little bit of doubleheader action, the Tim's Corner Motorsports Weekly Racing Series, currently in Nashville Fairgrounds. Marketing opportunities available there as well. timscorner.ca for all the details. Wednesday night, late night, prime time as it were, we've got the Fatheads Cup Series. We've got NEPS getting ready to wrap up their championship for the Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series here in the next coming couple of weeks. And they just wrapped up their Super Trucks Championship. And, oh, by the way, we're getting ready to do some NEPS endurance racing. You're not going to see it here on Verdane TV. It's going to be a monthly deal because, well, the producer and one of the commentary guys, myself and Kyle Young, we're going to be driving that number 94 car.
Yeah, there you go. It's an interesting example of what NEPS does. They did the Super Truck Series with the draft and the team aspect, and now it's a team aspect only. It's on road courses and once a month throughout the rest of the year. So great to see. And I know they're already working on the Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series schedule for next season.
No. So that schedule's all done.
Oh, it's all done. Okay, well, there you go. It's already ready to go. So great to see them forward planning. And we've got some eastbound stuff coming up. You mentioned Tim's Corner Motorsports, the NEP Series, Sim 500. There's all kinds of great groups on here, including SimRacing Unleashed that you're seeing here on Verdane TV. So we're past the halfway point. If we go green to the rest of the way, pit stops are out of the way. Most of these drivers have one more set of tires currently sitting on pit road. McWhorter is going to lead this to green. Hayward is going to line up in position number 2. LaFaro, Bordenot, and Stempy in your top 5. And then, we're going to go one more lap just because we can. Caution flag back out in the speedway.
Hey, that's not a problem. We'll shoot on over to the Facebook chat. And, man, I got to tell you, a lot of 21 fans out there. Some Hayward fans in the camp. Jacqueline Hayward Barker, a proud aunt of the number 21 driver. So that's pretty cool, having some of the family connections here at Verdane TV. Always cool to see that. Kelly Hayward also in here, Go 21. Jeff Hayward, good to see the 81s out there. Charles Pearson saying don't wreck. Appreciate that, Charles. That's good advice. But yeah, give us a line on the Facebook chat over in Verdane TV. Let us know who you're rooting for, where you were watching from, and if you got us up on the big screen, snap off a picture. I love seeing the big screen setups. If you got a projector, big screen, smart TV, whatever you got, join the social media discussion using that hashtag Verdane TV. And we love to be interactive here at Verdane TV. And speaking of interactive, we got Tim's Corner live tomorrow night. We got a couple of guests lined up for that, right?
Yeah, we do. We're going to have Braden Langell and Richard Atkinson join us on the show. Myself, Denver Matchett will be on the call for that one, or on the host for that one, with you pushing the buttons. So that's going to be fun ahead of the Trans Service Cup Series. So we're going to do a little bit of real racing, going to do some bench racing, and then we're going to go and hop into the Trans Service Cup Series. And the first 2 weeks of that series has been pretty exciting as well. Adam Gilliland coming back to victory lane last week, and he'll try to back it up in Vegas coming up about 24 hours or so away from now. The lights atop the pace car are off. The pace car is down onto pit road, and Joseph McWhorter going to lead this field back to green, and will be back underway on the completion of 93, so 40 laps left to go in this one. And great start for those top 2. LaFaro able to get to the inside, as is Caress. He'll get to the inside. The 77 of Whitley, talked about him on that last run not getting the brakes. He's now going to break to the inside. He'll pull up the 5th.
And we saw in the last restart, Tim, these drivers get floor fresh Goodyear tires underneath them, and there you can see the 91 proving my point. They feel like Superman. Look on the inside, that middle groove, nothing there. As you can see, Hayward moves down just a little bit to kind of close that hole. So McWhorter going to hold on to the lead potentially here for this lap. Under fire, 2 different lines, 6 different lines as they fan out on the front straightaway. Always cool to see on these cookie cutter tracks, but still 2x2 for second, third, fourth on back.
This is about the time in the race, Paul, especially after a caution and on a restart, that you need to pick up everything that you can. As you go for the battle for the lead, the 21, trying to go to the inside of Hayward, trying to pick up that spot, he will do so and go back to the lead. Now if McWhorter can get there, try to do something, goes to the outside, 21 progressively blocks to the outside, kind of that moving block kind of up the racetrack, trying to prevent that. And now the 32 of McWhorter kind of pokes the nose down to the inside. Whitley has found his way to third right behind, as they will battle one car way down to the inside. That's the 34. We stay green flag racing for the time being. But here goes the battle for the lead one more time. The 32 goes down to the inside. Does he have enough room to get up there? The 21's going to cross him over. What a move by Hayward to the inside.
Holy moly. That right there is Hayward doing his homework, because the exact same move from the number 11 car is what got the 32 the lead about 10, 20, maybe 20 laps or so ago. And you saw the 32 try to do it again. Almost ran out of real estate, ran out of front nose in the 21 for sure, and almost clipped that outside wall. So, holy moly, some tight racing up front. These drivers know they need to get everything that they can. You said it before. You need to get everything out of these tires that you can before they start to wear off, because you can save tires all you want, but I think the aggression in the first 5-10 laps on this set of tires is really going to be what these drivers need.
And we're starting to see the aggression. And I was about to say, this is about the time in the run, or about the time in the race, where you're bunched up together on restarts. You got to get as much as you can. And typically, in most leagues, that leads to a couple of caution flags near the end of the race, because somebody makes that move, which trickles into a mistake, which ends up costing the field about 5 laps or so under the yellow flag. Look at the run by McWhorter, though. Outside, inside, back to the inside. Almost has to cut the 77 off. to get down to the inside to make that power move on Hayward. McWhorter up the racetrack, not clear. The 21 is going to be able to take that lead back away, and now he's going to pay for it because here comes Whitley in the 77.
Back up towards where he started. Caution flag's going to come out on the speedway. Timing and scoring all sorts of jumbled up. There you can see the 04 involved. The 53 looking like a modified. Somebody snapped into a Slim Jim in a big way on the 53 there of Dave Bush. So that's going to bring out a caution on lap 100 on the nose. And we're going to back up the Verdane Dodge Shop instant replay. Try and find out exactly why it is we're here.
Yeah, Paul, it starts with James Bryan in the 04 car to bring out that yellow flag. And then in behind, you mentioned the 53 and a couple of others trying to take evasive actions. And for some, it worked. For some, it didn't.
And that's the glory of sim racing. Sometimes it works, and sometimes you feel like it not. But there you can see the 26 shooting down low and gets into the back quarter panel of the 04 machine. 26, nope, doesn't get by. He gets pancake slapped there by the 04. Doesn't, it looks like he corrects it a little bit. Oh, that is a massive, massive hit on that 53 car. That came to a very, very abrupt halt. And we're going to have to take a look at that from the in-car because that was a gnarly hit.
And, Paul, we have an incident under caution between the 04 and the 05 of Terry Duguay and James Bryan. The driver that was just involved in that yellow got hit under yellow by Terry Duguay. So to add insult to injury, there's a little more contact. But look at this right here. Coming up the racetrack, he's got nowhere to go. The 04's got it locked up, and the 53 just right into him. Nowhere to go to avoid that. That's a tough break for Bush.
Absolutely. And you saw the hood flaps pop up so he doesn't have a flyover like we're so used to from the 1980s cars or back in that era. They was able to keep all four tires on the ground, so good news there. Bad news is that car is toast. That was a massive, massive hit. Currently sitting on pit road here, David Bush in the 53, 2 laps down, still getting service to that machine.
So that'll bunch the field up. We'll have a restart with approximately 30 laps to go now, and it's closed in some of those drivers up front that I don't want to say didn't have a chance at it, but if it were to stay green, might have been a little bit behind the 8 ball. But what about the battle up in front? Whitley's able to take second after McWhorter tried to make that move to the inside of Hayward, and they did their little crossover party, and Hayward was able to take away the lead. This has been entertaining racing, but you mentioned that 11 car, and up in front, he was kind of the dominating factor in this one. He was kind of been a non-issue right now, sitting back in position number 11. Still got some time to go, but for Cedric Hunter, the time is quickly running through the hourglass right now.
Yeah, it was. We got started here a little bit ago. We looked at the schedule and saw, man, that's going to be a long race, and it's definitely still a long race. But starting to run out of lap time here. Going to be lights are still on in the pace car, so probably going to restart here. About 28, 29 laps to go. These drivers running about 10 to 12. Well, it looks like we had some pit stops here. The top 15 drivers stayed out. So they're on about 12-lap tires. 16th all the way on through 24th position. Last car on the lead lap, Byron Bartlett, all came down for 4 fresh tires. So that may very well play a factor on tonight's end of the race. We may not see a win come out of the second half of the field here, but definitely I got a feeling, Tim, we're going to see somebody kind of march their way up through once these tires start to wear off up front.
Yeah, there's if you're up front, there's still plenty of time because we saw in a blink of an eye that battle can change back and forth. So plenty of time to make it happen when you look at 30-something laps. If you're sitting back outside the top 10 around where Lane Doyle, Cedric Hunter, Jason Adams, those guys are running, you really have to start thinking, I need to position myself. That's where those pushes start to come. That's where those mistakes potentially are made when you try to cross guys over. And that's... somebody's going to end up making the mistake. Somebody's going to end up winning out of it. But right now, Hayward, Whitley, McWhorter, we've seen those guys up front. Stempian has fallen to 7th. So he's got some work to do. So this is going to be a very intriguing 30 laps or so.
For sure. We can see the iRacing pace car has shut the strobes off. Everybody lined up 2 by 2 behind them. And we're going to see just what it is these drivers have. Couple of long green flag runs here. As you can see, the 77 there of Whitley warming the tires up on the outside, trying to make sure that he's got all the gunk and the stuff off him. There you see Hayward getting a little piece of that action as well. You can look at some of these white cars towards the middle of the pack here on the shot. A lot of rubber buildup. A lot of rubber buildup on the cars themselves, which tells me there's a lot of rubber that's coming off of the racetrack, which means there's probably not a lot of rubber left on the race car on the tires.
Yeah, there's definitely some drivers that are going to have tires angry at them. There is one more set of tires down there in the pits, Paul, but the problem is if you come down, there's 24 drivers in the lead lap right now. You're going to put yourself further in behind the 8 ball. But the pace car is off. We're getting ready to go back to green. We'll see how this thing shakes out. In 30 laps time, Hunter Hayward going to lead this field to green, and look at that run to the outside of Whitley. He's got McWhorter behind him. Where does McWhorter go? Pokes that nose to the inside, and a battle for at least second place here down into 1.
Still 24 drivers on the lead lap. Anybody's ball game at this point. We've seen that happen to 32, trying to get everything he can off of this restart. Shoots on the outside of Hayward. He's going to have them door to door as they enter into turn number 3, but he's going to have that outside line more importantly. He's going to be able to get that run on the 21 here. But the 21 walking him all the way up the racetrack, almost not a spot to be. That 77 Pepsi car of Whitley is there. He's trying to get that extreme high line to work, and he's got a little bit of help from the number 20 behind him.
The way we've seen this battle play out as the 21 comes up the racetrack a little bit, the 32 gives him a line. The way we've seen this work is that 77 right now is kind of the control car. Is he pushes that 32. Down to the inside he goes. Battle for the lead, especially in these early laps. I don't know if I want to be the leader right now, Paul, as we almost have another issue up there. Remember, those were the 2 cars that came together on lap number 1 to trigger the first caution flag of the evening. I'm sure the 32 hasn't forgot that. But now they are battling up there, and 5 or 6 laps after the run, after these guys kind of get straightened out a little bit, it's not as bad. But if I'm the 77, I'm not a sitting duck like I am at Daytona and Talladega, but I kind of don't control my own destiny.
No, you're absolutely right. You can see the 32 getting right on the back bumper of that 77 in the middle of the turn as they come off and spreads it down low. He's going to shoot on the bottom side on that apron to try and see if he can gain enough track possession and maybe get that slide job action. Going to get a good run going into turn number 1. Plenty of room. He's going to slide on up there, I'm sure. And we've seen that work a couple of times now, back and forth. There you can see a bit of a shot there from the 77 of Whitley. He's going to go down low. We're going to see the same thing happen this time by, and you can see the 77 of Whitley shoots on up, gives him a little crossover action of his own. Here comes the 32. Anything you can do, I can do 6 more times.
Yeah, he caught the wall. Oh, there goes the 77 around, and he's going to save it. Is he going to come back out in the racetrack? Yeah, Paul, he got back out on the racetrack. He didn't turn straight like he did at turn 4 on the first lap. Well, maybe, sort of. He's still falling back here, but Whitley could have been in the wall and took about 15 guys with him. But he saved it. We stay green, and the 32 now has the big advantage out of all this.
That may very well have been the biggest wreck we've ever seen on Verdane TV that didn't actually happen. Holy moly, the heads-up driving out of Mark Whitley in that 77 Pepsi machine.
But now if you're the 77, you kind of got to catch your breath a little bit. Take that deep breath and reset. The 81 right there on your screen, Stembian, he was up there in the top 3 for most of this race. And now he kind of runs in position number 6, kind of knocking on the door of a top 5 run, but far from out of it. Josh Jones, you see the 76 put that move to the inside, trying to pick up 2 for 1. He's got the coupon book out. He's got one of those battles done, and now he tries to close in on the 77. If you haven't figured it out yet, it's definitely go time. With 110 laps completed next time by, we'll have 23 laps to go when they come back across the stripe here at Kansas Speedway. For McWhorter, he hopes this thing stays green because he's got about a 6/10 of a second lead.
Whitley could definitely use a caution in that 77 machine, not because there's any damage, not because the tires had a big slide on him. He needs to regather his thoughts. You can see he loses another position there to the number 76 of Josh Jones, who shoots down low on the bottom side, and he's got a freight train of cars behind him. Really needs to gather his thoughts back up. After a big save like that, and in the back of your mind, you're still wrecking for 3 or 4 more laps. And the adrenaline's pumping, you're shaking, you're sweating, and it's really hard to explain, but adrenaline definitely pumping on the 77 car after that monumental saved contact between he and the 32, Josh McWhorter, up in the front. Last week's winner, McWhorter. But seems like he's finally gathered his thoughts a little bit, able to hold on to this 8th position. Kind of going to take a couple of laps here, catch his breath, see if he can maybe cut through the top 7 or 8 cars here.
He's got time, but the time is quickly running out. If he gets a caution flag, Paul, I think he's a little bit better off. But here's 3 cars actually in this shot right now that were up in the top 3 for a majority or a most part of the race. If you're Hunter, you were leading earlier. If you're Whitley, you were up front with that slide. If you're Stempian, you were back up there in the top 3 for a little while. So you've got some time to go, but you're running quickly at a time. How about the story of Josh Jones and that number 76 car? Kind of hung out mid-pack for most of this race, and now with the restarts has worked his way up into the top 5. He's past the 34, currently in position number 4, and that car looks fairly clean. Scraped the wall a little bit earlier. Car looks good. He might have something here before this thing is all said and done. It's almost like he's on brand new tires.
He's definitely got a lot of rubber buildup on that car, but other than that, no damage or anything like that. And he is on fresher tires than everybody else. Came down that last caution. One of those drivers that took that last set of tires 12 laps ago, really starting to show here as everybody else pitted about 23, 24, 25 laps ago on that particular caution. So that's one of the things that these drivers are really going to be paying attention to if the caution does in fact come out. Do you stay out front and hold on to that track position and hope for the best? Or do you maybe roll the dice a little bit from the back of the pack, take 4 tires? You know you're going to be quicker. We're seeing it right now with the 76. Haven't talked about him almost all night long. He's moving himself into the 2nd position. He's getting ready to pass last year's champion here, Tim.
Yeah, from the middle of the pack to come down pit road and get those tires, that was probably the best decision, because at the end of the day, what are you going to lose by putting those tires on? And if this thing stays green, the gamble works out. So he's buckled in the bed that he's laying in right now, as Adam Gilliland would say, and right now into 2nd place, and he's making it look like a smart decision at this point. But if a caution flag comes out in these next 18 laps, it might not play into his favor, but he's got to go as if it is. And how about Steven Leffler? I think he's on the same strategy as well. The 72 car is about to beat down the door on the top 5.
Yeah, Steven Leffler came down 15 laps ago as well as the 76, same lap. And you can see he got around the 34 car, and he passed him like he was a SpaceX rocket ship blasting off into parts unknown. He's starting to close in on the back bumper there of Luke Lafaro. And you can really start to see, after about 15, 20 laps, the tires up front start to kind of fade away just a little bit. So we can see it's worked out for the 76, the 72 now of Steven Leffler. The next driver in a line is actually going to be that 77 of Mark Whitley. But he came down, he has taken 3 sets of tires, but he came down with everybody else. So it looks like just those 2 drivers are working that strategy into their favor just a little bit, coming down on that last caution with 4 tires.
And they're about to make this field look silly, because Josh Jones has caught the leader about 3 car lengths or so to reel in Joseph Pinkwater. But they are making this thing look like their own. But the problem is now, for those other drivers that are out here, you got, probably a half dozen-ish drivers on that strategy that have already taken their tires, that if a caution comes out, they're going to stay out on the racetrack. Then if you're McWhorter and the 21 of Hayward and LaFaro, you'd have to come down pit road, as the field will come by this time and put another lap on Terry Duguay. You'd have to get through traffic. You'd have some caution laps, and you wouldn't have a whole lot of time. So this is realistically Josh Jones and Steven Leffler's race to lose. Josh Jones, though, has to make one more move on McWhorter. We'll see how wide that 32 car gets here in the remaining 14 laps or so.
Working around the lap car of Duguay there, and the 05 machine currently scored 10 laps down. Earlier incidents causing that, but there you can see the battle for the lead, and using that bottom side because he's got the fresher tires. The 76 shoots down low, going to get plenty of room there, plenty of a cushion. Move on up, a nice easy slide job right in front of the number 32 of Josh McWhorter. And at this point with that fresh air, Tim, I think the 76 car is going to check out. And unless something happens, unless we get a caution or unless something happens to the 76 car, I honestly think this is going to be his race to lose. Everybody can make it from this point on the last time they pitted on fuel. It's just going to be the tires that are going to be the big story. And we can see Josh Jones, 11-lap fresher tires here, working his way into that P1 position.
The battle is going to be for second, and whether this thing stays green or not is going to be the key, because McWhorter is currently in second. Leffler is trying to get past Hayward for that final podium position. one would think he would get by. He's making that inside line work, but he's probably getting the good of those tires that he just got 25 laps ago or so. But this is going to be about the point. If he continues to abuse those tires to get to the inside, that he's going to use it up to the point where Hayward's going to be able to hold him off and might bring in LaFaro to the picture and might be able to put McWhorter up to position number 2. So if you're Leffler, I'm sure you're a little bit frustrated with Hayward. If you're Hayward, you're doing the best you can on those old tires, trying to hold him off. I thought Leffler would be able to get to second, but he may have abused his tires just a little bit too much in this battle.
Definitely a possibility, and that's one of those things that's going to end up being a Monday morning quarterback thing. As you can see, he shoots down low again. He's going to try for that crossover. He's going to try and get up to try and clear him, but as they come out of turn 2, not enough go-go juice in that 72, and doesn't quite have enough grip to get around him. He's going to try it again here in 3 and 4. A little bit more of a cushion that time, and you bet he's going to move on up and try and complete that slide job, move that 72 of Stephen Leffler into that 3rd position. But then you can see he comes back down to the apron, opens up that high side for the 21 of Hayward to go back and try, cuts him right off. So a lot of mirror driving for the 72. This is going to be one of those things. Hayward's going to end up dropping back a couple of after a couple of laps, I would think. You can see a little bit of a wiggle there from the 21. He's going to see that the 72 has the quicker tire, quicker car right now because he's got those newer tires, and he's just going to kind of let him go. But taking a look at a couple of other drivers that are on that same tire strategy, Josh Jones, Stephen Leffler, Nicholas Luby, and number 13, haven't mentioned his name all night, currently running in the 12th position. He came down that last lap. Kevin Roy, a rookie in the class, number 12. He's running in the 14th position. There you see Mark Koscheck in the 33 running 16th. Right behind him, James Bryan, the rookie, came down that time as well. Todd Nees, Byron Bartlett came down on that last caution for tires, 20th and 21st. So it worked for a couple of drivers. Those couple of drivers, Josh Jones and Stephen Leffler, up in the podium positions right now here, Tim. But it doesn't look like it worked for the rest of the field. Man, we got less than 10 laps to go at this point. What happens if the caution flag comes out?
If the caution flag comes out, I think everybody else comes down and gets tires, but you'd be trapped to a green-white checker finish. There wouldn't be a whole lot of cars that stayed out, though. I think, obviously, Josh Jones has pulled away and checked out from the field. If this thing stays green, that's his race. Leffler doesn't have the speed that Jones has. Heads up anyway, they're both in clean air. Josh Jones last time by had a 31.64, but he was passing a lapped car, so Leffler about 0.2 of a second quicker, but still there was some traffic in between there. He might be able to get to McWhorter for position number 2. Leffler, last time by, they were both turning 31.4s, so I think the tires have kind of leveled out in the 72 car. He's faster than 4th place Hunter Hayward. He's just as fast as Joseph McWhorter, and McWhorter a little bit off the pace that Josh Jones has been able to accumulate with those new tires, even though the last couple of laps, McWhorter has been slightly quicker by about 1/10 or so. So it may not be over with 5 laps to go up front here. There's about 4 car lengths in between your top 2. McWhorter turned up the heat a little bit.
And taking a quick peek at the point standings, championship implications here for our leaders, Josh Jones under number 76. Josh Jones is currently 3rd in points after 5 starts throughout the season. Doesn't have any wins. He's got 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s. Currently trailing leader Mark Whitley by 21 points. And 2nd place, he is 14 behind Hunter Hayward there in that 21 machine. So great points night if it were to cap off here. Barney's going to give him the high five from the stand. 5 laps to go here at Kansas, and may very well be a good, solid, hardcore points day for the Josh Jones machine at number 76.
I think Josh Jones might have hurt us because he turned up the wick that last time by to get to a 31.4, so he may have had a little bit in reserve for this battle, but then again, the last time by, it was hundredths of a second quicker for McWhorter. He needs more than that in the final 4 laps to catch up to Josh Jones. Leffler sitting in position number 3. He is closing in. He's probably the faster car consistently of these top 3, Paul, but he's running out of time. He may be able to get to McWhorter, but if he can get there, I don't know if he's got enough steam to pass, as we saw with the battle between himself and Hunter Hayward. So he may have a battle for second. The accordion is kind of coming back together amongst these top 3. Leffler about 0.2 of a second quicker the last time than Jones, but about the same time as he and McWhorter, even though he turned up the wick a little bit on McWhorter on that last lap. This is go time. They're going to come by this time and have 2 laps remaining in this race. Josh Jones currently up front. Battle maybe for second.
Definitely a possibility. Riding on board with the number 72 is Steven Leffler, using every single inch of this race car, every single inch of this racetrack. We saw last lap or 2 ago, really sideways coming out of turn number 4. He's going to shoot down low, going to get up to the rear bumper of the number 32 as they come off, and you can see trying to meet him right in the middle. He kind of glances up just a little bit to try and cut the advantage down off the 32. 2 laps to go in the air. Popsicle sticks from Barney up at the flag stand. He's going to try the outside. He's going to get around him. There's not quite just enough room. The 32, great job blocking. He's going to try and block him down in the apron as well. A white flag, a white rag for Jason Jones and the Josh Jones in the number 76 car. 1 lap to go here. Josh Jones out front. Battle for second.
The battle going to be for second at the end of this one. Great run to the inside by Leffler. Not able to clear McWhorter. McWhorter able to get back to the outside of that 72 as they will battle for position at number 2. Leffler will clear him, but up in front, it's Josh Jones in car number 76. New tires, pit strategy, going to win this race for the 76. Jones wins at Kansas. Second going to go to Leffler. McWhorter going to finish in third. Hayward and LaFaro, your top 5. I didn't think the strategy would work out for those 2, but it went green to the end, and Josh Jones proved us wrong. He is your winner this evening, and you know what? If this was a 140-lap race, it might have been close between him and Leffler.
Absolutely. There you can see a little congratulatory cheeseburger action there from the McDonald's car over to the 76. Man, I could really go for a double cheeseburger right now. Josh Jones with the tire strategy, as well as Leffler in the 72 on the same pit stop. Pretty cool to see a couple of new faces up in the front here this season. 8 seasons here for Sim Racing Unleashed, and we've gone through. Josh Jones wins tonight here at Kansas. Steven Leffler second. Joseph McWhorter finishes third. Fourth place goes to Hunter Hayward, Luke LaFaro, Stempian, Hunter Whitley, Zelms, Bodnot, a rookie here in the 10th position, rounding out the top 10 as the 76 burns him down on the front straightaway. A well-deserved burnout victory here. Taking a quick look as we turn the page. Chris Miller going to finish 11th. Kevin Roy 12th. Mark Kochnick, David Neese, James Bryan, Elaine, James Adams, Brian Bartlett, Todd Neese, and Brandon Caress there rounding out the top 20. All lead lap drivers. Pretty good, strong field here. There you can see 21st through 30th. Michael Yarl, Nicholas Luby, Robbie Darnell, Art Millen rounding out the lead lap cars. And then we see Paul Regney 2 laps down, and on behind him, drivers that did not finish on the lead lap. Dave Bush there in 26th. Robert Cheswick in the 27th position. Terry Duguay finishes 10 laps down there in the 28th position. 29th goes to Dakota Byron after the issues there in the first half of the race. Ethan Mackwell finishes 30th, and there you can see rounding out the field, Brad Delph, Buzz, and Lee Grantby, a rookie here, finishing 33rd. But tonight's winner, Josh Jones, led 14 laps here tonight, still burning them down on the front straightaway, Tim.
And I don't know if we have him, but I know we have Joseph McWhorter in the wings. We'll talk to our third-place finisher to kick off the post-race show. And Joseph, it didn't look like the pit strategy was going to be that big. I'm assuming you guys anticipated a caution near the end of that. Walk us through the strategy that ultimately got you to the third-place run tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, we had that late race caution. My plan was, I thought for sure we were going to have another one. I was just hoping some people would use their last set and then I could throw mine on. But, it's unfortunate. That was my thought. Unfortunately, I don't have my crew chief here tonight, so I think he probably would have told me to pit there. But, third place, that's good. We got our first win of the season last week and to come out here and lead some laps. And, I mean, we really had a really fast car. It's just unfortunate to lose a race, like that. But that's part of racing. And, they did the right thing. I'm not saying that I didn't do the right thing, but I think looking back at it, I probably should have went ahead and pitted. But, it's just the way that I was thinking.
But when you look at this race, lap number 1 coming out of turn number 4, you were crossways going at the back of the field. So considering you had to come from the back of the field, you got to be happy with the finish too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that incident on lap one, Mark got loose, and it looked like I wasn't sure if Cedric did, but Cedric started to go to the wall, and Mark was coming down. So I was just going to try and split the two. Well, I seen Hunter coming down, and all of a sudden, I guess netcode or something, and all of a sudden, I just got turned to the left and then hit Mark, and then it just sent me in through the grass, and then kind of just had to just really stay after it and keep running and try to be as fast as possible throughout the entire run to try and get back into it. Luckily, because we had that fuel in the car, I was going to go a couple extra laps, and then it worked out with the caution.
Well, it's a solid finish nonetheless. Position number 3 here at Kansas. Who's on this race car? Who'd you like to thank for the podium run tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting on a fantastic broadcast. I watched your guys' broadcast last week, and it was phenomenal. Biosite Gaming, I want to thank them. They've been my primary sponsor for going on 2 years now, so it's really cool to have them on board still. 1077 Sage, they've been on with me since 2016. We're just continuing on with them. They're on the back fascia of the car. If you're looking for a beautiful place to go have a vacation, Colorado, look them up at 1077sage.com. I want to thank Driven Motorsports, my teammates, Chris Miller, Mark Whitley, and Jonathan Smith, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. He's on vacation. So, and I want to thank this beautiful girl right next to me for supporting me every week.
Well, there you go. There's Joseph McWhorter, your third place finisher here this evening. And Paul will move on to our next driver in the top 3. And you've caught up with our second place finisher, Stephen Leffler.
Yeah, Stephen, Paul Strickland here with Dane TV, started 10th, came home second place, had rough going so far this season. Had a solid top 10 a few weeks ago here at Auto Club, and really nothing to shake a stick at here for season 8 for the number 72 driver until tonight. Solid second place podium finish here at Kansas Speedway, and man, you did it. You made it look easy that last pit stop coming down for 4 fresh tires, man. Talk to us about your strategy and about your race.
Yeah, the strategy went out the window very soon. I figured I'd split it up 45-45 and then run to the end, and pitted on lap 45, and about 15 laps later, caution came out. So the first half of the first 100 laps of the race were pretty rough. I got lucky on that last caution we had and came down and got fresh ones, and that ended up being the deciding factor for me. Definitely a hell of a comeback, man. It was a rough race, though. 5 more laps, though, I feel like I would have had Jones. I definitely had a longer run car, and I was just talking to him a minute ago. He said he had a short run car, so I definitely found a line that I had earlier in the race, and I was ticking times off, and I just didn't have enough time. Just ran out of time.
Absolutely, and we kind of noticed that up here in the booth. Had kind of a long run set up under the car, and with the fresher tires by about 10-15 laps or so. With that caution coming down, really made that car look like you were Superman behind the wheel there. So comes home with a second place finish here tonight. Podium finish, gets to talk to us here at Dane TV, and a great points night here for us. And taking a look, we got budget sim boxes on the rear quarter panel of that car. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We're new here, Dane TV, new partnership here with Sim Racing Unleashed. Still trying to get to know some of the drivers and some of the sponsors here. But who gets it done for the 72 team? Who gets you to and from the track?
Yeah, so I have 22Q Family Foundation on the hood. That's a organization that I have been running the colors for a couple of years now. My daughter is actually born with 22Q, so it's a way for me to get out and spread the awareness for the 22Q Family Foundation and get their name out there. Besides that, budget sim boxes. So I actually create and sell button boxes. So if anyone's in the market for button boxes, budgetsimboxes@gmail.com. I'll hook you up with a good deal. Besides that, just family and friends, all the guys in the league, SRU, all the admins for collaborating and getting this together and helping me run this league. And then, of course, all the guys for showing up each week and putting on a good show. It's been a little bit of a rough start lately in the first couple laps, but hopefully we get that sorted out and have a good finish to the season with some good green flag starts and green flag runs throughout the races.
Absolutely, and this week definitely much more cleaner than last week at Richmond, but you kind of gotta fault that to the racetrack itself. Richmond's a little bit of a rough place to make a TV debut, but great run here for you, second place. Stephen Leffler gonna party. Party like it's a Sunday night. Anyway, I'm sure we gotta go to work tomorrow morning. But man, a great run here for you tonight. Second top 10 of the season. First top 5.
22 key racing 1-2 tonight.
Excellent. And Tim is actually going to talk to the other half of that as we pull down tonight's winner, Josh Jones in the 76. Tim, you caught up with him.
Yeah, that might explain the pit strategy, Josh, but let's walk us through that decision-making with 30 laps to go, knowing there was a couple of cautions before and trying to foreshadow what would happen to make up 17 spots to come to the lead. What was behind that pit call that ultimately won you the race?
Well, this whole race, I'm basically trying to do different what everybody else is doing. It's not my best track, so I just figured if they all stayed out, I was going to pit. I was kind of in the box anyway, mid-pack type of deal, so I figured I'd give it a try and hope for no cautions, and it worked out.
And passing 17 cars to get there, and we just talked to your teammate. He also was on the same strategy, started on row number 9 with you on that restart with 30 laps to go. How much did you have to manage, kind of tiptoeing your way through the field to make sure that you got there to the front, and also kind of keeping an eye on that rear view mirror, trying to figure out where your teammate was?
Yeah, the whole time I knew he was the next one in line, so I was trying to get it up there as fast as I could, and I had to be patient there at the start, wait for some of the guys to move to the high line, and then I knew I was going to be able to roll. And after so many laps, I was able to keep a good pace going and get by those guys. They knew I was coming, so I appreciated them letting me have my line and moving on by.
You mentioned this racetrack isn't exactly your favorite, but this is a tough league to win. And how big is this win here tonight, especially coming from behind in 30 laps?
Yeah, man, it's real exciting. It's a hard league and it's a hard track. That's definitely sure. You have to have a lot of good luck and always have to have good strategy. It's a real momentum booster, that's for sure.
Who do you got in this race car? Who do you want to thank for this evening's win at Kansas?
I want to thank you guys for broadcasting the first and all the admins for putting it on. American Hero Hunt, Budget Sim Boxes, and 22Q Race Team. Thanks, fellas.
That's Josh Jones, your winner here this evening. Paul, exciting race. Glad to be a part of this one at Kansas. These guys put on one heck of a show, and I can't wait to see the rest of the season unfold here on Verdane TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Just about next week's actually going to be the halfway point here in Season 8 for the Sim Racing Unleashed group. So really, really tight points battle. You can check out all the action over at SimRacingUnleashed.com. They've got the driver roster. They got the schedule, the point standings, everything you could possibly need. And they got some league polls. They got the rule book up there, all that good stuff, and obviously links to all the sponsors and partners. So be sure to support the ones that support you, as we like to say here at Verdane TV. But yeah, Tim, great race. These guys put on a heck of a show. Josh Jones and teammate Stephen Leffler just leaving it up to tire strategy, coming home with a 1-2 finish here. Teammates, and pretty cool to see. And you can see just the car on the 76 as we watch the replay of the burnout. A little bit of things, a little bit of dents, a whole lot of rubber buildup on that white car there, but still enough juice in the tank there. You can see to burn them down once again. A great race here for the Sim Racing Unleashed guys.
Yeah, and excited to see them next Sunday, but we've got a busy schedule coming up, beginning tomorrow with the Trans Service Cup Series for Sim 500. They're going to move to Vegas, and then Wednesday night, doubleheader action. You mentioned the TCM Weekly iRacing Series at the Nashville Fairgrounds. And then on Wednesday night, the Fatheads Cup Series is on Verdane TV. Thursday night is the NEP Series, and we may have a small little show to start off on the Thursday night as well. May have a slight doubleheader there too. And then the weekend is quiet before we move back to Sunday for Sim Racing Unleashed. So we've got plenty of racing here for you on Verdane TV. Head over to the Facebook page, YouTube page, give a like, give a follow, and we've also got technically doubleheader tomorrow night too, because TCM Live is on the airwaves. We'll catch up with Braden Langell, a Pro Series champion from Winter Nationals a couple of years ago at Citrus, and Richard Atkinson going to be on the show as well. We're going to do some bench racing tomorrow night as a part of Tim's Corner Live. So that's it's going to be busy, Paul. But congratulations to Josh Jones. We'll let you take it out, load this up, and go on to the next one tomorrow night at Vegas.
Yeah, next time you see us, we're going to be doing the Tim's Corner live, and if you haven't seen it, going to be episode 3 tomorrow night. Time flies when you're having fun. Man, if you haven't checked it out yet, and you're a racer at heart, or you're just a big time racing fan, check it out over on the Tim's Corner Motorsports page. It's really cool, kind of a laid back shop talk type deal. Obviously, politics and PG era and all that good stuff. We try and obey all the rules. But it's really cool to kind of sit back, even as a producer on my end, where I'm just pushing the buttons. I'm listening to these racers talk about all the old stories and being at the racetrack, getting to and from the racetracks, and everybody that's helped them out. Really, really cool to get some of the old time stories and some of the stories from some of the newer kids too. I don't really know too many young race car drivers in person, so it's a lot different compared to old school versus new school. You got all the technology, the Facebook, the YouTube, all the stuff that we do here on Verdane TV. So it's cool to kind of get them a mixed bag there with all the different drivers and racing personalities up there in the maritime parts of Canada. And man, we just made that big announcement. You guys got that Street Stock series, and I keep talking to Gary from Rent a Race Car. Speedway 660, it's only 8 hours away. So we're going to try and make that happen. Maybe get the Verdane TV number 26 up there, depending on what the rules look like. But that's a discussion for tomorrow night or somewhere down the road. We're gonna flip all the switches off here, get a little bit of shut-eye. We're going to catch you guys on the flip side. And when we do, we're going to be doing it live. And we're going to be doing it tomorrow night for Tim's Corner Live over on the Tim's Corner Facebook page. Thanks so much for coming out here tonight. Have yourselves a fantastic evening.